Hi, I'm Heather Robinson. This is Jewish Week Online, Studio JW. I'm here with Dr. Georgina Rose, author of Are You Ready for the One? A Career Woman's Guide to Finding Your Man. Thank you for being with us,
Thank you for having me.
Georgina. Yes, well, first of all, I'm in awe of anyone who can hold down a full-time job as a doctor, no less, write a book in her spare time. How did you do it, and what prompted you?
It's true, I do work full-time as a doctor, and I was very interested in why it is in New York that there's so many single women. So I tried to find out why, give myself my own advice, and it turned into a book. And I just felt I needed to take the time to do it because it was so important. I wanted to share the advice I was giving myself to others in the city.
Yes, very nice. Well, I read the book, I enjoyed it, and I know you take a psychological approach about how sometimes our patterns can be self-defeating, and I wondered if you would share a little bit about what you feel your pattern was psychologically and how you dealt with it.
So I did do a psychoanalysis, and that helped me to realize the pattern I was having. I think most people do have relationship patterns, behavioral patterns, and the way I understood it was the relationship I had with my father growing up was that I always looked up to him in awe, put him on a pedestal, didn't see his faults, and I realized I was doing the same thing with men, and to the extent that I was actually underestimating myself, not giving myself enough self-esteem, and that really was the cycle I was in until I learned to grow in my own self-confidence, and then guys were drawn towards me and I put myself on the pedestal.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, I know in the book you call your book A Career Woman's Guide to Finding Your Man, and you know, one question I have is a lot of genuinely accomplished, kind, empirically really attractive women in their 30s and up are single in these cities, New York, LA, you know, just off the top of my head. I mean, I think of a few, you know, famous ones too. Oprah Winfrey, I don't know, whatever, you know, Kristen Davis, who was on Sex and the City. You know, do you think in a way that, what's going on with this? I mean,
I agree. There's so many beautiful women in the city that are career-oriented. You wonder what's going on. I think maybe two things. One is they might just also be focused so much on themselves, on their careers, on their beauty. They may also have higher expectations for men, or the kind of guys they're looking for, they have like, their expectations are very high, and I think that's something we have to all work on, is to reduce our expectations to a level of reality. And also it's intimidating for guys. Guys have to be the provider, so it's intimidating for them if the woman's so self-sufficient. So my advice in that way is to leave work at work. You know, if you're the vice president of a company, that's great, but it's at work, and in your home, be more nurturing, bring the feminine side out of you.
Well, that's, you know, good advice, I guess, although then sometimes they consider you a dear friend and a sister, and then you got another problem when you're too nurturing. But anyway, so you said that you studied Kabbalah, and that informed the book.
I thought, yes, the Kabbalah study is very interesting, and there are two principles I use in this book because I want to share them. One is to reduce your ego level when you're in a relationship, because you need to leave room for the other person to come in, be more giving. And the other thing, very important principle, is of restriction. When you're in a situation where you have like an instant gratification, whether it's in intimacy, whether it's even in texting or reaching out to the guy, you should try to restrict and let him come towards you. Those are very important principles I shared in the book.
Well, that's an idea. The New York women that our egos are too big? Nah. In terms of the classic question of whether it's a numbers game to find the one, or whether it's about just being ready within yourself, and a number of people could be the one, where do you fall?
I feel that you have to very much be ready within yourself. The whole book is actually creating yourself to be ready within yourself. But if you sit at home and never go out, you're not going to meet anybody. At the same time, if you go on every single website, go to every single social event, you may not either, because you'll be constantly focusing on the other person you're looking for. I'm trying to bring people down to a closeness within themselves, with an understanding of who they are and why they are the way they are, to draw the right person in.
An inner peace. Nice. And how about you? You know, you have a beautiful accent. Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and how this has affected your love life?
Yes. Well, I was born in Geneva in Switzerland, from a British mother and South African father, and just moved to New York 5 years ago and found myself on this crazy Jewish dating scene. And this book has actually helped me more and more. The more advice I actually take of myself is helping a lot, so I encourage people to read it.
It's wonderful. All right, well, the last question I have for you is just, do you think that there's a danger maybe with self-help that we are sort of overanalyzing everything? And if so, why should people buy your book?
That's correct. Women overanalyze everything, which drives
Right.
men crazy.
Uh-huh.
But that's because of our very developed prefrontal cortex in the brain.
And they are
So-
simple creatures.
So we can't change our brain structure. But I think essentially, analyzing or not, just have to bring everything towards yourself and try to develop more deep, real relationships.
Mhm.
Don't focus on conditional love or outside aspects of the person you're with,
Mhm.
and just be more
Mhm.
real.
Mhm.
And whatever you're going to give out into the universe is going to come back to you at some point.
Well, you are a wonderful, warm,
Thank
real
you.
person, and I know you even off camera, so that's for sure. Thank you for being
Thank you
with
so much for
us.
having me. Thank you.
Pleasure.